Dewey Rock on the track.
Welcome to Emerge Podcast 360. I'm your host, Maserati. We want to thank you for tuning in no matter where you are in this metaverse world. We're going to continue to bring you the best quality content and format that we know how. This is being brought to you by Involved Social and Civic Club, Bradshaw Insurance Agency, and Stepping Stones Counseling, LLC of Jonesboro, Louisiana. Once again, we want to thank you for all the likes, shares, and subscriptions on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and now YouTube. We have a great show in line for you today. It's Beyond the Game with legendary coach Bradshaw. Yes, we have him in the building, folks. We'll be right back to jump this thing off after this intermission. Yes, it's Begun the Game with Coach Bradshaw. Coach Bradshaw took over the Rams football team in 1997 to 2010, where he gained 3 state titles, 05, 06, and 07, 17 district titles, was named LSWA Coach of the Year in 2002, 2015 All-NEL Big School Coach of the Year. He has helped over 169 kids he has been personally in contact with to gain scholarships and have helped over 200 plus to gain scholarships. He is the legendary coach with a record of 149 and 32 at the helms of the Rams. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the legendary Coach Bradshaw. How you doing today, Coach?
Good. How are you doing?
Coach, we're glad to have you on. We're very excited that you could be here. It's a long time coming. We haven't heard from you in a while, and we just want to know, Coach, how's things been going for you, and kind of tell us about how you came up as a young man and lead us up to the point we are today, Coach.
It's been extremely busy with, the turf being ready to be put down and, having to get Delta back up and, running. And the school is fine, but, the athletic facilities, once you leave a facility, you have to, plan and work and, so it's been a busy summer. Pretty good turnout amongst, all the sports. Band has really caught my attention. The energy and excitement that they're creating at our school and the growth of that program. I think when he got here, probably had 15, 16 kids and, now we're over 60. So, 60 band members and, we're awful excited about that. That's kids doing, the positive thing, but what about this show? I think everything, we know about is going to messages or messaging rather. So, what are you trying to accomplish with this show? And I think it's, greatly needed for basketball.
Well, Coach, what I'm trying to accomplish, shed lights on pioneers and people like yourself, the latter generation. They need to know the people that paved the way and that helped them be where they are today. I look back on pioneers like Ronnie Coleman, Calvin Nett, Lou Brock. We had Mr. Henry Cotton, Kenny Gaines, Patrick Jones. I just want to shed light on pioneers, Coach, like yourself, and help the community to understand the need of being involved in our children's lives, especially in our community. That's my focus, Coach.
No question. And, and I think, and I spoke to Henry about, so, I wanted to know the more background of Morehouse High. But when he listed off, the athletes and students and, all the people that did so much, that's just a part of me that I need to know, but I didn't know. So that, I think anything like this you're doing with messaging, can you get one student, one adult, one person, to hear one thing that lights a fire under them? And our kids, we've gotten away from a lot of that, Coach. And, I'll ask the kids in the building, well, tell me about this, this, and this. Well, they don't know who those players are. And it just kind of stopped, what we were doing. And it's just not a good thing because when you look at my first couple of years, whether it be Solly or Terrell or, rest in peace, Maurice, and so Joey Kennedy and, they taught the next bunch and, the Ivory and Jeremy and James Taylor, Jared Falk, and everybody just came and, this group taught this group and this group, and then all the college players got coming back. And, well, we had a culture set up for success within this building. And then I come back and this is gone. And, we've got to figure out a way, to make this happen. Everybody, I hear all the time, these kids are different. Well, haven't we said that about every generation of kids that, come down the pipe? I don't really think the kids are that much different. I think how we treat the kids is much differently. And I think with use of cell phones, we have not adapted. I know I haven't, as adults, of what we have to be able to do, because kids today, are used to immediate feedback, whether it be from their cell phone or the games they play on, I'm not sure what all the games. I hear them playing next to my office every day. But they get immediate feedback. And then when you're not, coaching like that or teaching like that, or just trying to do the best you can, with this podcast, if we're not presenting a message, they're going to go somewhere and they're going to find that, because that's our life. And, I talk to our coaches and, the ones that will listen and, tell them, I'm a 58-year-old man. And, so every year I'm going to get a year older. And that locker room is always going to stay the same age. Right. So, everybody thinks, well, no, they all get they graduate. The locker room is going to stay about 16 years old, with across the board. And that's just the general average. So if we don't, bring in young people, to bridge the gap between myself and older coaches, then we're going to miss the boat on this in high school. And, look at the effect that all of us had on, college football, whether it be the NIL or the transfer portal, all that. And we've stopped doing the things necessary to get these kids in college. And I'm not blaming one soul. It's a system problem. And if you don't give it to them immediately, they're going to find something that will give it to them, or they're going to transfer. Right. And I hate to say that, but that's, some of the biggest obstacles we're facing right now.
Well, Coach, that's what I want to ask you. You look at your tenure, you brought this program to prominence. You brought it to glory. I played in programs that were 0-10. We had some good years in 92, 93, and I think that was the highlight of our athleticism till you came along. But you always had the talent here. What we want to know is that what was your formula that you did, that you put it all together and finally brought us to that height where we still are, I believe, in my eyes. What was the formula, Coach?
The formula was to outwork everybody, to not make excuses. We know, Coach, and you know more than anybody, we struggle financially. And if you struggle financially in the world, other schools are not going to struggle financially. So they have shine in you. So what I was, given task of, and I was blessed to have some great coaches early, whether it be, Albert Tippett, Korea Davis, which is still here today. And that started it. We were going to embrace the toughness of this town, but we were not going to allow somebody to outwork us. And, what I got accused of, or some people see it as a good light, is creating warriors. It was so hard, and, it was just a culture that was created. And no, we're not going to back down to you. We're not going to be, you're not going to treat us like we're second class. And now we've gone into a phase that we've gone back to that situation. And it's going to take some hard pulling and information to get out to the community and to the young people that, you can do this. Everybody is looking for that greener pasture. Well, why don't we just water the pasture we got? If you wanted something to turn green, we'll water it. But we're just, it's too much infighting, and the kids are the ones that are going to suffer.
Right. Coach, you said a key thing about the infighting. What's your biggest obstacle now that we know you took a short stint in 2011? You came back as the defense coordinator. Now you're the AD. What's your biggest obstacle with this infighting that you're faced with, trying to build the program back up to where it should be?
The infighting is, I tell, and I talk to Coach Sherrod every day, and I talk to the other coaches, and you have to understand who you're fighting against. Who is the enemy? The enemy here is a lot closer than what we think. You just take baseball, for example. You knew that you had a group coming, and that group was taken away from you. Right, wrong, and different, it was taken away. And so as kids, move to what they think is going to be better, they're gone. So if you brought all the baseball talent that's supposed to be in Morehouse Parish to one school, how good could we be? But it's still identifying the enemy and knowing you're going to fight that enemy every day, whether that be for jealousy or they don't like the way you go about it. So you have to be very thick-skinned and come to work and expect the problems, because it does not operate like most other places.
And that's the thing, Coach. I think if we would learn to take care of family business and leave family business in-house and look for our own and take care of our own, I think that's where we were, and that's why you was misunderstood a lot. And when we come back after this intermission, Coach, I want you to explain to the people what is most misunderstood about you. We'll be right back after this intermission with the legendary Coach Brad Bradshaw. We're back with Coach Bradshaw. It's Beyond the Game this Sunday. Coach, this is the question that I've been wanting to ask you since I came back home. I didn't get a chance to see you, Coach. Yes, I'm lying. I got the chance to see you guys in Shreveport because I was in college in Marshall, Texas. I got one chance to see you in action, Coach. What is most misunderstood, or what do people misunderstand about you most?
the difference between Coach Bradshaw and Brad Bradshaw, I got the Super One a little while ago, and people want to remember good times and talk about football and this, and this, and ask my opinions on certain things, and you asked me about me growing up. Well, I grew up son of a coach, split household. I live with my sister's son. I have two sisters. And, sometimes I didn't live with. So I had that, is a relation, it's kind of something, that a lot of our kids, experience. So, but, I was at, I'm pushing the buggy down the aisle, and the lady comes up and, you're actually smiling today. And, well, I had just seen one of my ex-players with his new baby. I have, good feelings about that because I, want him to be a better father than I was. And I can be Coach Bradshaw if I need to be. I don't think, I think if I get back into coaching, I'll have to change that somewhat. And I think I was able to do that in 2015. But biggest understanding is the difference. What I'm like inside my office with kids. Obviously, I don't have a lot of friends because I don't like that many adults. Very few people actually know who I am. The players, not all of them. Now, these are mistakes that I made by not letting all the players get to know me in certain ways. It was only the special players that I trusted enough, to keep that private, the conversations that we had. Now I'm a little different with that. I go to Denzel Duvall. As much as I love the players here and still do today, I was not able to tell male players, that I love them. And I was talking to Bill Walsh in Dallas one day at a Nike deal, and he asked me the question, and I asked for advice, as I do with any coach of that nature or anybody that I possibly think that can help us. And he said, go back and interview your old players, and be able to take the harsh reality of what you're going to be told. And, what I was told by them is, the coach, you were just totally committed to winning. Even you had us down there lifting on Christmas Eve, not giving any time off. And, the strain that put on coaches to be here all the time, and the family strains that put on people. But as far as me not having compassion for these kids and wanting the best for them, that's the biggest misunderstanding about me, that I'm unapproachable. But a lot of times I was unapproachable. So I don't know if it was actually a misunderstanding. It was more the players and certain adults could see the other side of me. And, I'm not making excuses for it. I did that. And it protected me. And I would say that was not the right thing to do. I think the right thing to do would be to care about all the players in a more fatherly sense. Winning is important. That's what we get paid to do, supposedly. But that, again, the misunderstanding that I'm an unhappy person, I'm happy when the kids are achieving. I enjoyed practice, and that's what I miss about coaching. I don't care if I ever coach another game. If we want to do that, fine. If we don't, that's fine too. But not being able to see kids advance every day and put in that grind of the work that it's going to take, do you know that it's going to give them a chance to be successful in life?
Right. Coach, you mentioned Denzel Duvall, and I want to read a few statements, principles, and you made about players. Mm-hmm. So Denzel Duvall, former lineman at Alabama, had a big impact. Bradshaw said he smiled the whole time we were out there. And then Coach Principal Norman said his biggest impact at the school is not much in football, and obviously we regained some respect in that area, Norman said, but his biggest impact in the response is the level of discipline he has in the football program and has carried over the hallways in the classrooms at Bradshaw High School, not only as a coach but as an AD. Coach Norman said you were a pillar, and it was more disciplined when you were there roaming the hallways, and when that little stint you left, the foundation kind of got shook. Would you agree?
No question. I've enjoyed working with a lot of people here, but as great people, whether it be Veronica Tappan, Mitzi Quinn, Emma Brooks, when people like that left us, we weren't able to replace them with the type of people. I'm not saying they're not good teachers, but you have to be all in with these kids. I mean, all in. And, you take a kid like Denzel that's, I had since the fourth grade. Jesse's taken us, his father, to every trip that I've ever been on, with the football team. So Denzel was always around and smiling, but Denzel was also a very heavy-handed player, and I was able to tell, the biggest regret I have in coaching, and I've got numerous, that sticks out about him is not getting to coach him his senior year, and not getting to coach that team his senior year with KT and all the rest of them. I thought that was a very, they were a quarterfinal team that lost in 4 overtimes to an outstanding O'Para Walker team. It's Landry Walker now, but a team that was just loaded with great individual talent, great team, but yet you saw one of the best defensive games that I've ever been a part of, to witness the night Denzel had in a losing effort. The ability for a young man to play 7 different positions in a game. And then he did not have the senior year like that because, whatever, I'm not blaming anybody. I don't know what happened. All I knew was, he was going to be very successful at what he chose to do, because he understood totally how the game of football needed to be played. He understood about leverage and the physics of the game and what you had to do, because a lot of it is still based off simple math. And people think, oh, Denzel's a pro player. No, Denzel was not going to be a pro player. But his ability to learn and be such a special individual, with that smile and all that he brought. But you mess around with Denzel, also you get punched in the face. So he was able to, broaden that, take it to the University of Alabama, which, what does that say about him as a young man to stand up to everybody, people in this building that were trying to force him to go to LSU? And he understood where he fit. He did not fit in LSU scheme. He fit in Alabama scheme. And so now he's taken that and won numerous national champions. Great job, at the University of Alabama. Very valued employee, and I can't say enough about, that young man. And you look at it and you see him, the success that he's having today. And you have to understand, what his role is. And, and it's just countless other players that, you saw grow from practice and the toughness part of it, but yet he was still able to show his personality.
Right. Denzel, another remarkable young man. We hope when his time it's coming, we'll let him season a little bit more. Those are pioneers, Coach. This you asked what this show about. It's not just athletes, Coach. We have a lot of people, like you said, you don't really know the history, but Bob Butterbean Love,
Right.
It wouldn't be a Michael Jordan, et cetera, presidents in Chicago. Lou Brock, 8-time Mr. Olympian. Ronnie Coleman is from here. Miss Betty John, Maple John, excuse me. She was the first woman of Motown. She's from here. Is autographs and artifacts of her in Miss Ora Evans' activity building. Coach, when the legends and the athletic and the talent that's come out of Morehouse Parish is so broad, Coach, we could sit down and talk about this for hours, Coach, because I've been doing my research, but I want to know this. I just had Marsha Green on last Sunday, and I read an article where Marsha Green changed your life, Coach. Kind of tell us about that.
You know, the infectious energy of one young man. You know, everybody said, you know, he's super fast. No, he's not. He's the most competitive individual. He's not the best, most talented player I've ever coached, but he is the most competitive individual that I've ever been around. You know, the ability to compete in what he achieved in the body that God gave him. You know, he's just, you know, if Marsha is 6 foot, 185 pounds, you know, he's in the Hall of Fame, but he got the absolute most out of his talent. You know, how did he change me? Everybody, you know, knew how strict I was. Everybody had to have the same shoe on, which was black shoes, white socks, this, that, and, you know, whatever these stupid rules I had way back then. Well, he comes through the door as cocky as a human being could be. I'm like, sure, I mean, I knew who he was. I'm not stupid, because all his brothers played here. And I was able to listen to your show with Marche and, you know, thoroughly enjoyed that. But, you know, going back to his shoes, you know, he wanted to wear red shoes. And, you know, okay, you're a freshman. All right, you know, so I probably blew him off in the hallway. You know, we're not doing that. I said, but, Marche, if, you know, if you want to wear red shoes, you make All-American, then I'll buy the damn shoes for you. And, you know, it's funny now, but, you know, who thinks the dang freshmen and sophomores don't make All-American? Well, he ends up making it as a punt returner. Well, I have to be a man of my word, and that's where the shoes got started. And I can't believe I put that much emphasis on what shoes they wore back then, but I did. So, yes, he changed my life again. And the same thing he does now when he comes home is just a different energy in the building when he walks in. And that's special. And he will always go down as that special, you know. And so, you know, when I got involved with, you know, all these rules we have for these kids about their hair. Okay, we can't have this hairstyle for a male. I'm not sure what all that's called, but okay, you know, is it not hypocritical of me to say, okay, you got to have your hair like that, but the one player that all others are held to that status has got dreads down to his butt. So I might need to rethink this. If he's the standard, then they can wear whatever hairstyle they want to wear, to me, in that's my opinion. But again, it goes back to the infectious energy and the competitiveness he had.
Right. Coach, he really spoke highly of you, very high. He said you probably the most intense coach that he has ever been under. How do you feel about listening to the show? How do you feel about the rap Marche got with the NFL and his definition of not for long?
The NFL is a political money machine. And, he had to adapt. He knew he was too small, but you couldn't make him believe that. So I'm super proud of what he was able to accomplish because, for a man of his stature, it goes above and beyond what even I thought he could accomplish. But again, what a special young man. And, we talk about, not just what he did on the football field. I mean, Marche scored 98 touchdowns in his career for me, or the career for Baxter, brother. And he scored in every way possible that you can score, whether that be returning a kickoff, returning a punt, receiving, throwing, whatever he did. And I don't know of many people in the United States that, can make that claim. But also, what was the impact he had on our school? We weren't going to have all these fights and carrying ons that, so many people talk about now. I don't see that many fights up here anymore. But when he was here, and, Rogers Locke was a big part of this too. Now, they were, like brothers, they controlled the school. No, that's not what we do here. Where, we may have an incident or something now that, whether it be, Coach Odom, the dean of students has to handle, Mr. Taylor, the principal, Mr. Williams, the principal, all the people have to do that. You didn't have to do that with him and Rogers here. And there were several others. One of the first ones, I wasn't even head coach here then, was Michael Williams. And, and I talk, you talk about Michael, college coaches come in, okay, you go up to the school and you find the best looking, best dressed kid that's handling his business. That's Michael Williams. So you ain't got to look any further. And those people, they're lifelong names. All right. If you're considered one of the greats, of Baxter Pie, be a one name person, because if you're not, they're not going to remember who you are. And I hate to say it that way because all of them are important, but the ones that are truly, truly special, if I say Reuben, you know exactly who I'm talking about. If I say Marche, you know exactly. Denzel, Mackey, D'Lo, and the list goes on and on and on. Or you take a kid like people that don't even know because he never hardly played any, B.J. Wheeler, okay? B.J.'s a kid that nobody wanted. No school. Well, we took him in. He was way too small to even be out there on the field. But he took his opportunity at Bastrop and turned it into great. Now he's probably got 3,000 or 4,000 troops up under him in what he's gone on to accomplish. And I do think the toughness, also the love that he could see and the help he got from other people turned him into the man that he is today. I'm greatly excited about his military career, but I'm more excited about the relationship that he has with his family. And, but again, getting back to Marche, it'll just always go back, people, what he had to overcome, coaching change. I don't know if Coach Ogeron really wanted Marche. If you look at Marche, no, I don't want him. But if you're ever around him, you'll fully understand exactly who he is.
Right. Coach, we're going to take another intermission, but when we come back, I want to know what's been your biggest venture you didn't expect in your coaching career, and we want to elaborate on the turn that the city has taken, and we want to know how you feel looking through a glass. We'll be right back, Beyond the Game, with Coach Bradshaw.
Black hands off. For that defense, that's a must. Trey B and J.Y. can't nothing get past us. Yeah. But if they do, that deuce one is lurking. Ready to bust a head and getting it real dirty. Strop City, Bradshaw, man, we coming. We coming. Still the number one team in case you wonder. Knocking over every team on our way to the dome. So pack your hat and pack your coat, cause we sending you home.
You better pray that the Rams don't go off. Cause if they do, then your head will get knocked off. G-A-T-A. Gotta who. Yeah. You better pray that the Rams don't go off. Cause if they do, then your head will get knocked off. G-A-T-A.
Welcome back to Immerse 360. We're still here with legendary coach Bradshaw. Coach, when we left, you were sharing some of your feelings about your players and how proud are you of them. What's been the biggest venture in your coaching career that you did not expect?
I didn't expect to be here this long. I think of 3 opportunities that in theory or I had not signed anything but I had great interest in. Obviously the money was so much greater at other places and the ease that I think they have, and I'm sure every place has its own problems. But there's been 3 instances, 2 in college, 1 at another high school that just made an astronomical offer. But that when I walked in, to tell the team, and I just couldn't do it. I felt like such a liar that if I told them, if they would make the commitment, I would make a greater commitment. And, and then I'm figuring to say, all right, I'm just going to take the money and go. And that's, the one thing that, you better tell them the truth. You better, you just better be up front with them. I think Bastrop handles that way better. And I do think it's toughness and, wanting to achieve and putting them in a position to achieve. And, I'll give you an example. Jerry Powell, I mentioned him earlier to you. Not a lot of people, when you start talking about the greats of Bastrop High School, they're not going to talk about Jerry, but they should. Jerry was a unique young man, brilliant mind. Was going to make it a lot further with his mind than he was playing football. And obviously is going to go on to great things as he starts his life. But Jerry was one, I knew that I was just going to be the coach in 15 for 1 year. That decision to change coaches had already been made prior to that season. So I did not think I could come in and be as harsh as I used to be with the older team because they had not experienced anything like that. But at that particular time, our school board really thought we needed to have a successful football program and that I would do it for this, and then I would go to be on parish AD. But Jerry was one that, okay, coach, I don't need all this cussing and fussing. What I need you to do is, believe in me and let me do my thing. And, he meant that. He could take harsh coaching, but you did not have to get to that level. He wanted you to do it a different way. And the first game I ever coached with Jerry, we lost Parkway. And, Jerry always knew how to approach me as we built a relationship by just sitting on the couch and talking. All right, Jerry, these are your responsibilities. You're the quarterback of Bastrop High School. No different than the young man today. I'll see him, the quarterback, tomorrow. You've got to lead this team, no matter what you think. That is what your position holds. And I tried to slow the game down against Parkway. And Jerry took that as, okay, you don't believe in me. You're trying to take this out of my hands. And when a player comes at you with that kind of attitude in the right way, he's not bitching and doing this about playing time. He wants you to believe in him totally. And that changed me also. And just seeing, how he went about that. Another one, Coach Correa Davis. Early on, Coach used to take it every step. Never get all the credit he deserves. And Coach is harsh with him, just like I am. But has a genuine love for him. I treated Coach Davis poorly, and he came to me as a man and said, I won't be treated that way. And I respected that. No different than so. And in all these years, 20-some-odd years, I've never had one person. Most of my days start with somebody having a problem with something that's going on down here. And that's hard because I'm in the building, but that's my job also. But not one time have I ever come across anybody that called me about Coach Davis. Not one time, about him being disloyal to the program or to me or anybody else. If he had a problem with me, he took it upon himself. This is the way I expect to be treated. Then, and if you can do this, we're always going to work out. And again, those type people are special. They don't shirk responsibility. But where, if you're in that foxhole with them, for lack of a better term, they got your back. And that's, and there's just countless people like that come from here. So it's as much criticism as we get, it's a very, very special place when things like that. And I know he and Wanda, were the driving force, about getting everybody together, to get the field named after me, which is going to go down as, my greatest honor. I'm happy that I'm going to get to see that before I'm dead. I'm happy that my daughter is going to get to see that. I'm happy the ex-players. But also we have to, consider that honor in the right context. Okay, what does it mean? Because my name's on the field. That is representing every player, every coach, every fan, everybody that was in that great run when our community came together and everybody was doing well. Our school was better and everything. That's what that represents. I just happen to be the name that's out there. And that's the context that needs to be taken in. We don't honor our players enough. I mean, we have, countless All-Americans, but we don't, the kids today, unless they're kin to them, they don't know who they are because it's not set up for that.
And Coach, I mean, cut you off, Coach. I just want to piggyback on you because you're going to somewhere where the show is trying to take the community. No one knows that Calvinet, this latter generation, it's probably some people my age, doesn't know that Calvinet, Denver Nuggets averaged 25 points in the NBA Western Conference Finals against the Magics, the Worthies, the Kareems. He averaged 25 a night right here from Bastrop. People don't know about Ronnie Coleman. They don't know about the legendary people that's from here. And you speaking on Jerry Powell and Coach Davis, see, that comes from that tradition that they had at Delta, Coach. That's part of the history that's being kind of left out because the transition of consolidation. But without Delta, it's no doubt in my mind, Coach, you came at the right time when consolidation was wrong, but it ended up bringing the parish together for a stint when you came. That consolidation, Coach, was the flavor, I believe, in the mix as I was coming through school. If we were one unit back then, Coach, you'd have came in already with probably 6 or 7 under your belt when you took over.
No question. And you look at the kids that benefited, but you also look at the strain that put on people still to this day. And Coach Price and I have talked countless hours about this. You know, we bring the junior high over here. Well, he did not think that he could fully fulfill, you know, everything that he wanted them to become, being on our campus. You know, he felt that he needed those kids out there. You know, the problem we're faced with this right now, we used to have 2 feeder schools, Delta and MGH. Okay. So now we have less people. Now they're combined, and now we have less people participating than we had at either one of the schools. So where we should be doubled, you know, we're less than the numbers that Delta. You know, I look back, the love that those kids had for Delta, and you know, and everybody's griping and stuff about us going out there to play. What a great honor it's going to be, and a great, you know, we got this opportunity in front of us. Why, you know, you're about to play. We got a defensive lineman here, you know, and there's several of them from that area. You're about to get to play on the same field that your daddy got to play on, or maybe even your grandfather got to play on. Why wouldn't we embrace this? You know, why wouldn't we play a basketball game out there? Which gym in this parish has the most history? And it's a gorgeous gym. It's not like they're saying, you know, it's a little bitty gym that's run down. It's gorgeous. They have pride in that. And you know, people can say what I feel, you know, why wouldn't you want to? I came from a little school like that. It had ultimate pride in that school. And that's what I see. Why can't we be excited about this opportunity? I was out there this morning and, you know, just thinking, you know, all right, how am I going to maneuver the band to get here? You know, why can't we have the sirens going off and march them in across that bridge? Or let me understand Bear, you know, has been trying to help me with the history and then where everybody parks and, you know, what everybody tailgates and stuff. We have a great opportunity in front of us. You know, I'm more excited about the turf for practice because we're able to that point in time, bring everybody into one building. This is about being in 2 or 3 different buildings, and this bunch has to leave to go to practice somewhere else. That's not good. But I'm extremely excited about the opportunity that we have. But I saw the pride that Delta kids had long before. Then it kind of took off when we obviously winning helps everything. But once we took off winning, then, you know, our kids developed a pride here. But one of the first things I saw about Delta, I was at LSU's camp, and there was a kid from Delta. Now, he rode down with us. And obviously we had one that had already committed down there. But this kid, you know, best player on the field. But, you know, so LSU's coaches come to him and say, okay, if you'll transfer to Bastrop High School and play for Coach Bradshaw, we'll give you a scholarship. He didn't even consider it. Not one consider. He was Delta. And there's a saying that they have, I can't call it right now, but, you know, about being a Mustang and stuff like that. That was special to me. A lot of people say they don't understand. No. He has a love for his school. He buys into what Coach Price is teaching out there. You know, like Lance Hurd, you know, I watched him come up out there. Obviously he's playing at Neville now, and one of the top recruits in the state. But he would have had the same opportunity here. Parents should do what is ever best for their children. But you also look at kids like, the exposure when you get to play on the big stage. And Josh Downs, does Josh make it to LSU? I can't answer that question. Does Dee or Dick, Ed Patterson, Jared was from out there, and so many more. And so let's just try to stop all this infighting between. But we did not do a good job explaining what was going on.
Right,
sure,
right.
I wanted those players, but I was not the force. I get accused of being I had no idea this was coming. But am I going to be stupid enough not to take good players? Sure, I'm not. I mean, why wouldn't we take the good players? But the day, I got to go through Lou Brock's deal, and we should teach our kids this. But I heard Bob Love's name on ESPN this morning. And we have to get something in place where our kids can see. Okay, he did this, and so on, so on. No different, in the academic. Let's look at Darrell Lacey now. Darrell was a great football player here, good player in college, but what's he doing with his life now? Now he's a medical doctor doing great things out in Colorado. It's not only the ones that achieved in football or basketball or track or baseball or whatever they chose to do. It's also the ones that are achieving so well in life. We mentioned Rogers a lot. Rogers is a doctor now. It's a different kind of doctor. But just so many, kids that, as I tell our people that I get to work with, all our kids have a song inside of them. And now we've let them, all those groups got to sing their songs. Now those, kids today is different. They still have the same songs in them. We're just not allowing them to sing it. But I hope that this really goes well at Delta, and I think it will. And I think it'll, I think we have some surprises for everything. But I also, look at, we need to become one. And I'm not one way or the other. If the school name changes, it changes. That's not what I do. But to have these kids believe that you can do this out of Morehouse Parish, and here are all the examples. You hadn't got to take this other road. But if we don't start giving them examples, guess what? Somebody else will, or the streets are always calling them.
Right. And Coach, you said about, spoke on the infighting and bringing everything together, and you said something important about explaining what was going on with the turf and why we're playing at Delta wasn't really explained. And that's why
I'm not trying to cut you. I don't think we explained any of it real well.
Right.
Why did the group of Delta, alumni, parents and stuff, most of them still sit on the visiting stands down there on the right-hand side. Because if you're on the home side, it's on the left side. It's too red. So obviously I did not do a good enough job, or somebody didn't do a good enough job explaining, what was going on. And any time that you take somebody's school or take something away from somebody, they're not going to be happy. Just like, when I was, got everything taken away from me. I'm not happy about it to this day. But, I've got to try to make the best of the situation that we're in now. And we've got to have everybody. And we need ideas thought out, not thrown out. So we'll have an idea from somebody. No, that's from, well, that's stupid. If it's a good idea, it's a good idea.
Right. Coach, for the last, let's say 7 to 8 minutes, I want you looking through a glass from your perspective. 25 years. I mean, you're a Bastrop native now. What has changed from when you came to now with the city? You didn't coach over 3 generations. What is the biggest thing you see, Coach, looking through your glass?
Cell phones. Again, goes back to the immediate feedback. And coaching. You know, I was at, I don't know, we went to play, I don't know, wherever we were playing 7-on-7 the other day, and there was 4 or 5 teams there, so that means there's about 50 coaches out there. And I'm looking at, you know, how many of you are really committed to your craft? I mean, deep down committed. And I couldn't find that many. Some that work for us. And I hate to say that, but deep, it is a lifestyle choice. As far as coaching, I touched a little bit on what I think about. I don't think the kids are that much different, but I do think everything that surrounds them. Okay, I don't know, that the phone sometimes I think takes the ability for them to communicate away from them, but also the knowledge that they can receive are, people say they're not as mature. I don't know. They've seen things through that phone that are maybe I didn't even see till I was in college. And so they're more, that's their world. And I get a chance once I finally get them here, like I'm going to teach a special class this year. I got bored with the gym and stuff, and I know it's easy, but I wanted to teach a special class and let the kids have a voice. And that's the problem that most adults have with me, is because I'm going to take the kids' point of view most of the time. If they can lay it out there to me, why this is important to us. Why would we do it like this? Well, they know, if a coach doesn't ask his top players who should play, he's making a huge mistake. We don't know those kids, not like their teammates know them. They know if they've been in the park with them playing stuff, they know which one's going to do it. But we think, and we overthink this as coaches sometimes. As far as the community, when will we ever, it's to me like we circle the wagons and shoot ourselves. We got this faction doing this faction doing that. Well, okay, let's figure out what our problems are. Number one, who is the enemy? And, why are we not, are all the kids that are leaving, well, do we sit down with them and try to figure out why they're leaving? I get so tired of them saying this is about race and color. It's not. It's about green. It's about money. And people get the feeling, I guess desolate that sometimes. You see, we don't have all the shiny and new like everybody else does, and constantly doing for their kids and stuff. And then our kids, well, why? All right, then they're going to look for something else. And all right, why aren't we getting behind this rodeo boom that's going off in Morehouse Parish right now? When I go to a baseball game, I went to a softball game out in Forest or something, and I watch one of the kids' moms get out of the car, and there's 3 little boys get out. And none of them had a ball in their hand. They all had a rope in their hand. Well, we better figure out that that's important to them and build on that. Continue to build the MAC. Build it up. Because you don't talk about finding the cream of the crop. those rodeo kids, I mean, obviously my daughter's into that, but I remember, Fig on the 15 team, we sat down. He said, Coach, I don't want this to be a problem, but this is what I do. This is who I am. And I said, we're not going to have a problem because I know you know what my expectations are, but I also expect you to be the best in that you can be. So, I don't know if we like shows like this. All right, maybe the leaders of the parish need to get with you and then really express the plan that we have. Because a lot of times I think we don't know what the plan is. Where are we headed? But whatever, I get frustrated with that, and because I believe these kids are special, and I'll always believe that till I leave here.
Well, Coach, I want to know this before we leave. Being that you have accomplished a lot, you left for a while and you're back. What are your personal plans and things that you want to see headed out the door with Bastrop when you get ready to end your career?
If I had all the money, I'd build a new school. I wouldn't, everything has its place. I want to see Bastrop football get back, to the standard that it once was. I want to see, a baseball field get built for our kids. I want to see our school achieve. I don't want to be an F school. And there's ways that we can do that. And, we got a great opportunity starting tomorrow to see if we can knock this back and, become what we once were. We'll either take advantage of this opportunity or we won't. But it's right there in front of us starting tomorrow. I want to see the turf get down. I want to see how it changes by being able to run the total football program coming out of one building. I think our participation level will go up. Everybody's, some didn't want the turf, whatever. It's bigger to us in more ways than, we got fancy, turf to play on. We're landlocked. All right, so where do the kids practice at? Where does everybody practice at? All right, so you got the elementary kids out there in the park. They're not playing on a regulation field. All right, with turf, you have the ability to play all those games here and still, use that for practice space. I see too many teams trying to practice baseball. They're on the side of the road somewhere. And so who's going to get them? Well, Sterlington's just going to come in here and scoop them up because they're sitting down there with that multi-million and $1 million facility down there. So, those are just some things that jump out at me. I was probably one of the most proud days of my life was in 2006 when we got nationally ranked. And, I'm like, damn, that's pretty good for a little old Bastrop, Louisiana to be nationally ranked, one of the top, 50 football programs in the United States, especially with the stipulations and limitations that we have financially. But, we can't, again, most every athletic director in America has a budget, some big, some not. Well, we don't have that here. We don't have any budget. I'm not saying the school board doesn't help because they do, but it's not run like the other schools do. And I'm not griping back because I knew that going in, and it's never been run like that. But we had so many people attending games when, I was coaching that I really didn't have to worry that if a kid needed something, and I talked about, I grew up kind of poor, and but I didn't know what poor was till I came here. First kid I ever took home, I'm not knocking him. I love the kid to death. He's doing great, living out in Dallas, great family. I've talked to his boss of his company several times, and he's doing outstanding, but I had never seen anything like that. How hungry they were. And I'm not talking about hungry to be, great or anything, literally hungry. I'm sitting out there expecting them, to practice for 3 hours and the type practices we have, and I hadn't fed them. But I didn't think about, because, even though I was poor, I always had food and stuff. And I'm not saying that all these kids, parents do the very best they can. That's what we can hope for. But some of us, we have to step up. We making this, just like this show. You're taking upon your time to create a message out there, to brand something, to build this. All right. So we've got to get behind this show and to grow everything. But, I could talk a long time about what I think needs to happen. But we have to learn to be where our feet are, and our feet are, right here. I try to come to work every day, and, even just for a little while. So I'm up here at the office now, but I rode by the front of the school. All right. We got a new principal up there working. I was at Delta this morning. I see cars up there working. Magnet, they got them. I have not been over to by Morehouse Elementary, but I'm sure somebody over there is working. So, but where is it all headed? Again, it's a lot of things that are not necessarily true that people hear. And I think shows like this give us the opportunity to put the message out there. And, just like, I hope the day I retire that this is a huge show and I get to come back on here and tell the full truth of everything. Because I think our community needs it.
Yes, sir. Coach, one thing before we go, one last thing. What's your most proud moment in Ram football?
Oh, proudest moment. The kid signing, I'm going to give you 3. Kids signing in college, whether that be girls, boys, whatever. Being nationally ranked in football. Not state ranked, nationally ranked. And the expression on my dad's face when we won the first championship in the Dome. I always wanted to go back to my high school. And it was one of the opportunities. That was the only high school I thought I would ever go back to, because that was his legacy. The field is named after him, and, but he made sure that I couldn't do that. Even after his death, he still had it blocked where I could not become the coach from 10 years after his death, which would be last year. And now the school does not exist anymore. But the expression on his face to see that many people saying Bastrop, and getting him to spend those 3 days with him, that's pretty special. The last thing is the ladies that took my daughter in, whether it be Mitzi or Veronica or whoever, those people were that made my daughter, feel a part, because sometimes it's hard being a coach's child. And those are the things that, just jump out at me. Some people would say it's not really the state championships. There's a lot of victories along the way, but those things right there were very, very special in my life.
Well, Coach, we want to thank you for stopping through Immerse 360. We wish you the best on all your endeavors, and we are praying with you that we can get this program back to the prominence that it should be. Coach, we thank you. Whether you know it or not, you done left your mark in Morehouse Parish. You brung us to a place, and you finally completed that gumbo that had been brewing with that talent all those years. Hey, This is Emerge Podcast 360. I'm your host, Maserati. This has been brought to you by Involve Social and Civic Club, where we understand the social and civic need of love, learn, live, and laugh. Special thanks to Coach Bradshaw. Y'all get involved. Stay encouraged. And most of all, y'all stay immersed. We out of here.